Welcome back to our discussions on HTML. So our textbook, the Mozilla Developer Network. Here's a link to it. You can also search for MDN or Mozilla Developer Network in a search engine. This is the organization that produces Firefox. It also has its roots in the original web browsers. It really is the authoritative source on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So on the Mozilla Developer Network, you can both find what would be referred to as reference material, but you can also find tutorials. And if you search MDN Introduction to HTML, you'll find the essentially the chapter that these lectures are based on. And any HTML, CSS topic or JavaScript topic that you want to look up, if you add the letters MDN to your search criteria, you'll be directed to the Mozilla Developer Network page on that topic. So what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's not a programming language, although it has some similarities to it. It's a text file that has semantic markup that's interpreted both by human beings and by computers, but it doesn't have full-up structures of a programming language. You don't have programming logic flow, iterations, decisions, and loops. You have a markup for text. It has its roots in HTML, Standardized General Markup Language, an older and more complex technology that was meant to structure text for printing. Before word processors, if you wanted to have fancy text printed, one of the technologies you could use is mark up that text in HTML, which would have instructions that would be interpreted by the printer to be special markup for that text. Its source was IBM, which is the source of many inventions in the computer industry. IBM's glory has faded a bit now, but they really have invented a lot of fundamental technology. So it's a markup language, as we've said, that structures the web page. So HTML consists of a series of elements and elements that are marked up with tags. Getting inside the interior of the element, look at this illustration on the right. So the entire thing is the element, which then consists of the opening tag and the closing tag. Here, this is the paragraph tag. So notice the angle brackets, and then the specific paragraph tag, and then the closing tag, / and then the tag is repeated again. In most cases, elements have opening tags, closing tags, and content in the middle. There's also self-closing tags that don't have content, and we'll look at those in the future. Right now, understand this: the entire element, opening tag, closing tag, and content. This terminology is very important because as we specify HTML elements in the future, we'll call out elements tags, and content, and also attributes. And it's important to be able to distinguish between those. Now, in common speech, element and tag. Tag is often used as a synonym for element. That's speaking informally. The entire thing is the element, whereas the tag is just the beginning and end. So let's take a look at the attributes as well. Again, very important to understand that, to understand what they are, understand what that terminology is, very precise here. So not to be confused with the content, for example. Here, this attribute calls out a special characteristic of this paragraph. It falls into the class of editor note, and this attribute can be used for various things. To program it, to attach to it, but in this case, probably about this editor note is probably more about the appearance of it. We'll see how that works. Again, the class is then associated as an attribute to the paragraph. It's a key value pair usually. Sometimes it's an attribute is just a single word. Again, we'll get into those exceptional cases, but in most cases, it's a key value pair with the name of the attribute equals and then double quotes, and then the specific value of the attribute inside those double quotes or single quotes in HTML. You can use either one in HTML as long as they match up. And it's located the attribute is located inside the opening tag, as we see here. All right, next we'll see an example of an HTML file.